You're listening to the NCF&B podcast, part of the OG Podcast Network. The NCF&B podcast takes you behind the scenes of North Carolina's food and beverage industry. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at NCFBpod. This episode sponsored in part by Food Scene. That's foodseen.com, providing professional photography, social media management, video production, and website design. And now, enjoy the show.
Hello, and thank you for listening to the NCF&B podcast. I am your co-host, Max Trujillo.
And I am your co-host, Matthew Weiss. And this is an extremely special episode as we bring you inside the James Beard Awards from the press room, just as the presenters and winners of James Beard Awards are coming out of the elevator backstage.
Yeah, I mean, if you pay attention to Twitter, it was doing live feeds, so you already know what happened. If you don't know what happened, we'll keep it a little bit of a surprise as things go on, and you're going to get to hear from people that we didn't expect that we were going to hear. I mean, we went to talk with North Carolina people, but, I mean, Matt, we talked to Zooey Deschanel.
Zooey Deschanel, José Andrés. Got to stay tuned for that. We saved the best for last.
Yeah.
No offense to everybody else, but
he won the Humanitarian of the Year, so you can kind of say he was the best for last. I mean, it's okay. I don't think anyone's going to take offense to that.
Yeah, true. But this episode, I feel like, has everything. We get into a little bit of our exploits during the Chicago 48 hours or what it was. And just, to paint a picture, we mentioned it before, but our team, we went out there with 4 people. We went with Felicia Perry Trujillo, my wife, and Forrest Mason, not my wife, but he's Forrest Raider Mason.
Oh yeah, please. Little known fact: Forrest's middle name is Raider. It's kind of why I like him. Yeah. But Forrest is our videographer, and Felicia's our photographer, and they represent Food Scene and awesome sponsors of the show, and we're helping out while we were there. So the way this is going to work for you all, technically speaking, is you have now just downloaded and are listening to this episode. This specific episode is, as Matt mentioned, from the press room during the awards, after awards were given out. We also had a ton of footage with video and audio on the red carpet. Forrest, we gave him some questions, but man, that guy just went off on his own. He was speaking to people with the likes of like Grant Achatz of Alinea, arguably the #1 restaurant in the nation. He's speaking to Ashley Christensen,
Rick Bayless of Frontera Grill and Tupelo Bumbo.
We're pulling this all in, so give us a break, everyone. We just got back Tuesday morning, and it's Wednesday night. So we're pulling this all together. We're going to release short videos from the red carpet where Forrest got these great one-on-one conversations with everybody as they were walking into the show. We're all dressed to the nines. It was black tie affair. We were looking good, and we hope you enjoy listening to our experience. It was as much of a amazing and unique experience for us as it was those that were being nominated. I mean, we just were a fly on the wall at the craziest event for the food industry.
I have to say that for the, I think, 94 episodes before that we released, this was huge validation, comeuppance, if you will, when we got the call that said we were granted media access to the James Beard Awards. And Max, you remember, obviously, but I'll just share a little bit with our listening audience that when we were, thinking about this, we were, thinking, oh, should we go to this? Should we not? I mean, it's huge, but it's a lot of money. Well, if we get media access, we got to do it. And the call came. We got media access a couple of weeks ago, like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. And we're like, all right, we got it. We have to do it. And I do have to say,
thank you to the sponsors of the show, because we have a bunch of friends of the show that have supported us and supported our mission. And there is no way in hell that we could have been able to do this on our own. I mean, this is the only job I have. And Matt is a wine rep and he's doing his thing, but it's not like any of you wine reps driving around out out in your car listening to this episode probably also are like, how the hell did they get out to the James Beard Awards to do these things? Now, big kudos to the James Beard Awards because they gave us full media access, which came at no cost, which was really cool. But, we had to get out there. We had to stay somewhere, and we had to eat at a few places. So our sponsors took care of us, and, we forever thank them for giving us the opportunity. It is truly amazing to have the NCF&B podcast to be able to do these things, and we hope that you all enjoy it as well, and we'll continue to support the show and tell friends about it so that we can do more and bring up new stories for everyone else to listen.
Well, we're not stopping, so there's plenty of good other content even after this amazing episode to listen to.
Yeah, so stay tuned all weekend long. To reiterate, there'll be videos, there'll be photos, there'll be bonus episodes that are just going to be dropping kind of periodically throughout the weekend before we release the following episode, which gets back more to our regular schedule. But we just thought, this is just cool stuff, and how do we want to give it to everybody? Well, let's just give it to them in small, snackable bites. So after that, go back to a little bit more of normalcy. Without further ado, here's the show. So Dominique Crenn of Atelier de Crenn in San Francisco won for Best Chef West, which is essentially California.
Yeah, you all know her. You've seen the American Express commercials.
Yeah, or the Chef's Table on Netflix.
Matthew Weiss with the NCF&B podcast.
We're from North Carolina. We like to represent.
I love North Carolina.
Over the weekend, James Beard turned 115. So if you're making him a dinner, what's something you might actually cook for James Beard?
I'm making my best grilled cheese sandwich all time. And then we start with oyster and champagne, and then we go to the grilled cheese.
So simple but perfect.
Yeah, easy. Yeah. You do your prep an hour, 2 hours before, and then you can drink.
That sounds like a great way to have a birthday.
I loved your speech. You were very enthusiastic and very passionate. Obviously, what was the impetus for the speech? You obviously felt compelled to get everybody to stand up and really make a difference.
Because I think this hour has been about our rights, but everybody's saying, but nobody's doing it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that everyone got the message all over the world that we need to rise for what is right. But I've been doing that for a long time, but now it's the time. And it's nice when you see people doing it. Doing the action is amazing.
You got to get people to stand up and literally stand up and take notice.
You can talk and talk, but you got to walk the walk.
Yeah, amazing. Well, we'll hopefully see you in the Carolinas very soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Dominique.
So, for those that don't know, Dominique Crenn did this thing during her speech to literally make everybody stand up.
Yeah, it was very Frances McDormand of her.
Yeah, it was very Frances. But she is such a cool chick. Like, even what she was wearing, like this little black leather jacket with a fantastic scarf and like some black, I don't know what you call them, like culotte pants or something like that. And she just short haircut, just looks kind of like badass, but cool and friendly at the same time.
Yeah, she looked more like a rock star than a chef, but she is a chef rock star. So it was cool, though. Yeah, she brought everybody to their feet, and she waited. It was kind of an uncomfortably long pause. She waited, absolutely. She was not going to speak until everyone was standing on their feet. And she's like, there, you have risen, because the whole event is about rising. And so it was cool. I mean, you could see there was like reluctance for a while. Like, she really expects us to all stand up?
Yeah.
Oh, she does.
Yeah, she even had to say, okay, come on, you in the back. Stand up.
Yeah. So she worked that room, and it was cool because that was one of the earlier awards. She was a super inspiration and a phenomenal chef too. Just total life of the party. Yeah.
And she was just great to talk to, enthusiastic, energetic, probably like pretty much, and she does come to the Carolinas. So kind of the embodiment of everything cool about our podcast and our little culinary world.
Yeah. All right. So here, Zooey Deschanel is about to come up.
When we think of North Carolina food, we think Zooey Deschanel.
Exactly.
I'm trying to figure out.
That was the first thought that came into my head.
Right. Everyone asks, what are you down now? But have you been to North Carolina for a food venture ever?
Not specifically for a food venture, but North Carolina is one of my favorite states. It's so beautiful. There's so many amazing towns, and it's a wonderful place.
Totally.
So the leaves when they change in Asheville. nothing more beautiful. In the fall,
It's one of the best places to live, one of the best places to eat. But I got to ask you,
Yes.
outside of North Carolina, you're an actress.
yes.
We're at a food awards show.
Yes.
What the hell are you doing here?
Well, this is my husband over here. You can-
Hello,
Jacob.
husband. Jacob.
Yeah. So we started a company called the Farm Project.
Oh, cool.
And it's a public benefit corporation, and we're basically trying to make fresh, local, sustainable food as easy, accessible, and affordable as the processed and packaged alternatives. So we're all about fresh food, and we want to encourage people to grow their own garden, plant their own gardens, ask questions about their food, go to farmers markets, support local farmers, and support the local food movement.
What you're doing is amazing, and I don't know if you know this or not, but North Carolina, sadly, is one of the worst food insecure states in the nation.
Really? I didn't know that.
It's a common issue on our show.
Yeah.
We talk with people that are trying to help that movement.
That's awesome.
Maybe someday we'll have Zoe come out here
I'd love
and
to.
talk about it, and we'll figure out
That'd
something
be great.
fun.
Yeah.
It's
Because
fantastic.
there's great local farms and special produce, and we do great sweet potatoes and obviously pork from
Amazing.
North Carolina. So there's
Some of the best
great
farming in the
produce.
nation, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, we got to put the food in the right places so everyone's getting to eat.
Yeah, well, there's so much food waste. I mean, like 50% of fresh food gets wasted, and for no really good reason.
Exactly.
You're speaking gospel. Yeah.
Totally got to throw you for a total loop
Yes,
right here.
please. Throw me for a loop.
I have daughters.
Yeah.
Have you ever been more nervous or scared than when you had to rap as Bridget in the Trolls movie?
Actually, that is such a good question, because I was so thrown for a loop.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know I was supposed to rap until I got there, because I'd gotten all the materials of what I was supposed to sing, and I somehow misread I misread it, but I learned all my other songs,
Right.
like all the singing parts, and I was like, there's no way this is me.
They're going to hire a rapper to do this.
This is for somebody else. And I got there, and Justin Timberlake was producing it, and he's there, and he's like, "Okay, so you ready for the rapper?" And I go, "Oh, yes." I just need a minute with the material so I can just refresh my memory, and I just crammed it in my head.
No one has ever said "era buddy" better than you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I had a very good coach in Justin Timberlake who was like, "No, do it this way." So. Most, people rapping probably, have a better natural talent, and I needed really a lot of coaxing, so.
Well, you have a beautiful singing voice,
Thank
and
you.
you nailed it then. But thank you for what you're doing for
Thank
food
you.
and being here at the James Beard Awards.
Yeah, it was so
we appreciate
nice
it.
to meet
Hope
you
to
guys.
catch up
Thanks
with you
for coming.
if you're ever back in North Carolina.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I love North Carolina, so I love that. Yeah.
We'll see you then. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
Well, that was a pleasure. An unexpected addition to a food podcast to speak with Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, that I feel like that kind of just sums up a little bit of our journey. It's we're not. I've taken a broadcasting class and you obviously have a background in audio, and we definitely are comfortable in front of the camera or microphone. But the fact that she was so genuinely intrigued by and interested in that question, I think speaks to a lot about you and our style, and just the fact that our whole thing is just to talk to people and really get a genuine conversation and answers. And that was a prime example.
Yeah, because we love we do a podcast about people under the guise of food and beverage, right? That's kind of we just like talking to people and kind of hearing how they work and what makes them tick. So, it's great that she has so much knowledge about food and food waste, and obviously it's a big nod to the Hungry Harvest podcast recently, and sponsors the show as well. So it's great to be able to continue that conversation. It's important, but then it's also just fun to talk about what's going on in her world. And she's an actress, and she's fantastic, and a singer and all that. So really cool person in general. Her and her husband were there, and then at the end she's even like, "Hey, have you met this person and this person?" And she's hooking us up with a bunch of different people. One of the gentlemen that is an actor from Hamilton was there.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I'm just so excited to meet with you." So she's talking with him, and they're talking about Hamilton. It was definitely a who's who gala at that moment right then.
Yeah, she was so genuine, and And I think that whole project, I mean, I don't know how much of that comes across in the interview, but her husband is obviously, I think, the original catalyst to it, but obviously her fame, she's using that for good. And in this sense, certainly with the farm project. Yeah.
Yeah, the farm project.
We're going to have to check that out and look more into that.
When it comes to vodka, it starts at the farm. Social House Vodka sources corn locally from a farmer who plants non-GMO corn. And because it's made from corn, it's also gluten-free. Social House Vodka comes from Kinston, North Carolina, and sources water from the ancient Black Creek Aquifer. Social House Vodka. Live socially, enjoy responsibly.
Okay, so in anticipation of the next person, Caroline Styne, she is a West Coaster. She runs the AOC group with Suzanne Goyne, who is an amazing chef who's also been recognized in the James Beard Awards as Outstanding Chef. I've known her personally. Matt, you knew her, or at least knew of her when you were living in Los Angeles. She had AOC, Luke, Tavern, and also is instrumental in an amazing bread program. But Caroline herself, as I've known her over the years, living in LA for 15 years, she was just one of the most well-respected sommeliers and just ran a legit, edgy, fun emphasizing wine program amidst people that do these stuffy, boring, 700 bottle list menu. She was like, no, I'm just going to find all the coolest stuff and make the best wine list possible. And now it's like common and everyone does that. But she really was a leader, and so that's why I had to start off when I saw her. She won Restaurateur of the Year nationally, and that's no joke. I mean, that's a huge thing. So seeing her, it was like seeing a piece of home, being back in Los Angeles. And I used to sell wine to her directly. So there was this one moment that I had to speak about. It was an anecdote, but I thought it really would tell a story for those that may not know who Caroline Styne is and just how influential she is today in this market.
We're speaking with Caroline Styne of AOC Restaurants. Caroline, you and I met a long time ago. My name is Max Trujillo. I'm from Los Angeles. I sold you some wines back in the day.
Oh my God, yes!
Yeah,
right.
And so life has changed over the years.
Oh my God!
But
that's real, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
My brain is like cardboard.
Yeah, you just won a James Beard Award.
I am shocked right
Congratulations, because it's amazing. Tavern is one of my favorite restaurants in the world.
My God,
it is so fantastic.
Thank you.
I have not so much of a question, more of a comment that just shows the influence and the power that you possess to the community of the wine world. We, as a group, tasted you on Vini de Alice, the Osei,
I love
Prosecco.
Alice.
It's Method de Champenoise. It's a fantastic wine.
I sell it still.
No one knew about it. It was out of the Portofino portfolio back in the day. You picked it up, loved it. It's an all-female owned winery.
I wrote a blog about it.
You wrote a blog about it. After that blog, we received after that specific blog that you wrote, we received an inordinate amount of requests for the wine.
Oh my God, that's
we're getting
amazing.
calls from Capo, from Spago, Providence, Joffrey's.
Really? I love that.
And I just had to say to them, I go, there's no way we got to you guys. How did you even know? They said, I said, you read Caroline's blog, didn't
That's
you?
amazing, seriously?
So for one, I made commission back then, so I owe you a beer.
Bring it on.
Or two. I appreciate
He'll
it.
get you a cocktail right now.
Yeah, at the open bar.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. You've always been a major influence. Now living in North Carolina, we speak about North Carolina all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Any chance you'd ever just decide to go out of the Los Angeles area? Perhaps Raleigh? Perhaps Asheville? Think about it.
I will think about it.
Yes.
Suzanne and I are, we're really bad in that way because we're so hands-on that if we can't be there on a super regular basis, some of the people in the category with me, they're huge. I mean, they've got restaurants, far more restaurants than we have, all over the place. And we're so homegrown that we are too afraid to do anything that's outside of our daily reach.
So humble, but you make amazing restaurants.
I'm so thrilled about that Alice thing. I think that wine is amazing. That's the beauty of the wine world and the restaurant world. But with wine, like Suzanne has her farmers that she gets to sort of get to know and love up, but I get to meet all these amazing people in the wine world and like live their lives through their wine and put the word out to people and share these things I love, and it's so dreamy and amazing. That's the best part about it. Everything tastes good. Everything can taste good, but having the soul of the person behind it is really the key.
What's your secret though? Like LA, though that was many years ago when you opened AOC, was not a great wine drinking town.
No, I know.
So how do you create a critical mass like this? You know, you write this blog and everybody like Pied Piper follows you. How did you wield that power?
I have no idea.
If that's how it happened.
No, I have no idea. I think just for Suzanne and me, it's always been about doing things that we personally love. And creating restaurants that we would want to dine in, or I only put wines on the list that I would like to drink, and I think sometimes when you have a person advocating like that, and when we opened AOC, I remember we thought, oh my God, is anybody going to drink all this wine and eat all this cheese in LA?
And also, how are they going to pronounce it, right? Auk?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to Auk.
Yeah. But people...
You doubled down on Luke.
Luke Wes. But you know what the whole thing is? I think there are a lot of kindred spirits out there, and they just want somebody to kind of guide them a little bit, and if you can literally tell one person, and then I don't know how we just got really lucky, I think, and I think if the product is really good and you put it out there, then other people are going to like it. They just need people pushing it out to them.
Yeah, well,
I'm a pusher.
Who knows if luck had something to do with it?
That's the secret.
I think it's determination had a lot to do with it. I just have to say, I feel very humbled to that now speak to you at Chicago at the James Beard Awards.
No, I'm so
after
happy
years
for
ago.
You. I'm just sorry, I can't.
No, talking. Instead of sitting at the tavern waiting to see if you were coming back behind. I think I see Caroline. I've got this bottle. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Congratulations.
So much.
Let me get a hug. It's good to see you.
I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I'll give you a hug as well.
I'm a total hugger. Thank you so much.
Such a cool story about a sincere woman who felt something, didn't really care what was out there or how she would be perceived. She just went essentially for a place that she would, food and beverage that she would like to drink, and made it happen. And now, how many years? I think AOC just was opening as I was leaving LA, which would have been around 2007.
That's about right, because it won Restaurant of the Year in Los Angeles Magazine in its first year. And then I think 2 or 3 years later, Luke came out and also won Restaurant of the Year in the LA Magazine. Yeah. So it's like, the secret's been out for a while that they're doing a serious job. But for her to get national recognition as Restaurateur of the Year, I think for you and I both, Matt, we're front of the house people typically. So in this scope, everyone looks at James Beard as chefs, and that's kind of like the main thing. But maybe like when you're looking at the Oscars, it's like when the writer wins, you know, it's like the person like screenplay of the year. That's why I look at like the Restaurateur of the Year or something, or maybe the producer of the year or whatever it is. But there's something magical when you see someone that totally gets it, when they can partner up with a chef like Suzanne Goin, but then also articulate Suzanne's amazing food into the front of the house with service and food and ambiance. If anyone's ever been to one of her restaurants or their restaurants, you'll know it's just inviting and fun, and like it's not pretentious let's be honest, in a city that's extremely pretentious. Luke, AOC, and Tavern are pretty cool. So it makes sense they won.
Yeah. And it was also cool, just, you know, we're in Chicago. It's the middle of the country, so everybody's descending upon it from all over the country. And you know, now we're hailing from North Carolina, but then to still catch up with people that you know from your previous life in the back press room of the James Beard Award.
This segment is brought to you by Food Scene. That's foodSEEN.com. Providing professional photography, social media management, video production, and website design.
I got to say, man, the podcast this year has kind of taken personally. I know for you too, but I don't want to speak for you. But it has taken my life in a whole new direction. I mean, I was on Adam Carolla, and I'm backstage at the James Beard Awards. We're going to New York in 2 weeks to do amazing things.
Yeah,
you know, like just all the stuff and the people we've met. It's been through this podcast, through the support of listeners and all, and it's super humbling and exciting. And I know you cherish every moment of it and don't take any of this for granted. It's pretty fun. And it was also really cool to share it with my wife. It was our anniversary of 13 years and 13 years of marriage, 18 years of being together on that actual day. And then Forrest, he was just like bewildered. We'll get into Forrest in a little bit too. I mean, he was on the red carpet.
One of the coolest things, and I think a point of validation for our podcast, when we dropped Forrest off on the red carpet, I looked down as they put signs of who was supposed to stand where, and the NCF&B podcast was sandwiched between the Chicago Sun-Times and the Philadelphia Inquirer. Like, major publications. And I said, oh, man, if that's not a point of validation, I don't know what is.
Yeah, we're like, what are we doing here? Why are we here? And that's actually important. I think people just even have to understand that and hear it. We had a conference call with the media people from the James Beard Award, and I think they were like, we requested to get media passes to go out there, and we just thought, well, the worst they can do is just say no or not say anything, but that would be a no too. But and instead they emailed back and we're like, no, we're intrigued, and we're intrigued about what you guys do, and podcasts are forward thinking and the next medium that we need to be a part of. So what's your angle? What are you guys doing? We're like, well, following the amazing stories of Ashley Christensen, Katie Button, Vivian Howard, and everybody else that's been out there that's represented our state, because this state is producing some really important people in the industry. And what I really loved was we're not alone in this thought. They agreed and said, yeah, this sounds great. We would love to have you there. And
not only that, but on top of everything else, 3 women from our state were prominent.
The perfect time for women, and especially in how the culture is happening right now with the Me Too movement, with everything. It's amazing to see powerful and important women. Matt, that was a perfect segment, because the next person we were going to speak with is none other than former James Beard Award winner and presenter of the night, and also recent Emmy Award winning chef, restaurateur, television personality. She hired John May.
I mean, everybody has some bad judgment sometimes.
You can't always hit them out at the park. But no, Miss Vivian Howard and her husband, Ben Knight.
Standing here about to talk to one of our hometown or home state favorites, Miss Vivian Howard and Ben Knight.
Vivian, Ben, it's exciting. Good to see you.
You too.
Not in rural East North Carolina, but in the big city.
Yeah, I feel like we got the hometown discount here. We got you first coming off the red carpet.
Yeah,
that's right.
Linebackers.
That's right. Once we're done talking to you, we're getting back on the plane and getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, we'll probably stick around for a cocktail or two.
Probably,
maybe
20.
Yeah, but we've heard you two have had quite a weekend, or the last 2 weeks, from the Emmys to California to now here in Chicago, Hollywood.
The awards tour.
Not the Tribe.
Oh, the awards tour. You listen to 90s hip hop, getting ready for the awards tonight. Nice.
Tribe Called Quest.
With Muhammad
represent.
I'm ready to go home.
You guys are getting ready to go back to
finale.
Kingston.
I've already been back. I went home for a day and then came here today.
Nice.
All right. Nice.
What you'll be wearing will be jammies for like a week and a half, hopefully.
No. Workout clothes.
Okay, that's good.
What was more pressure, winning the Emmy or presenting here at the JBF Awards?
Well, I presented at the Media Awards too, and this was more nerve-wracking because, it was
Presented at the Emmys too.
Yeah, I've done a lot of presenting, but these are like my people here, so I care more about what they think.
You feel like they're like kind of judging, oh, is Vivian going to be
also,
good at this?
I was sweating underneath my arm, and I could see.
I know, we all were talking about that. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
But we did comment on how nice Ben's hair looked. Actually, though,
seriously,
really nicely.
Look at
that. He's going to be on top of the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Listen, you got to know.
He has hair.
Well, so excited. Obviously, we got Katie Button coming up and Ashley Christensen later on. So, any words of encouragement or thoughts for these two ladies?
I hope they both win. I think Ashley has done a tremendous amount for our industry and really reshaped the triangle dining scene. Is such an advocate for the way that we should all treat one another. And she is the first person who embraced me in the North Carolina food and beverage industry and invited me to do an event. So I just hope she wins.
Heard, chef. Heard.
Yeah, that's gonna be funny. It's great to catch up with you guys here.
Right on. We'll see you later tonight.
We're good.
Yeah. Have a good one.
What she said about Ashley Christensen, I think that just sums up North Carolina right there. We all know Vivian as such an influential leader in this industry, and for her to be so humbled and just basically give all the praise to Ashley for including her into the industry, coming back from New York and, you know, setting her roots again in North Carolina. That shows why Ashley was nominated and why she was there representing our state, herself, her team. Obviously, Ashley didn't take the award. It went to Gabrielle Hamilton of Prune in New York City.
I think that I don't want to give away too much because you and I have an upcoming article in the Raleigh magazine in the not too distant future, which I definitely touch on that piece, but it's incredible what she said. I literally got goosebumps while hearing it because I think we would all, you know, expect some sort of rivalry just naturally. It was so genuine, her statements. To get even further, our interaction with them, it was so nice. I mean, I think for both of us, again, that feeling, here we are in Chicago, in the press room, it's kind of like a dog-eat-dog world. Everyone's, you know, jockeying for space.
Out, like, it was like Vlade Divac's butt face all night long.
Yeah. Well, he never boxed out. He was just smoking cigarettes and, like, used long arms to get rebounds. But anyway, it was like Anthony Mason getting rebounds. And when we saw them, we were the first ones up, and like I think we hugged, and it was a genuine feeling of comfort for both of us, all of us involved, of like, oh, great to see you, and here we are at the James Beard at this special moment, and you know, talking about what's about to come, and it just again epitomizes North Carolina and the feeling of the culinary talent and the camaraderie between it in this state.
Just, it was like a thought, a feeling I had, and it was actually when we were in the at O'Hare and we were about to get on the plane. We looked around, you know, it's a bunch of North Carolinians coming back to the James Beard Awards, and who do we see? Former guest of the show, Louis Cherry, and his wife Marsha Gordon. We see Joe Kwan of the Avett Brothers, who's a good friend, and he was there with Eliza Olander. We see Nick again of Dashi and Ponysaurus. And we see Vivian and Ben. We're all getting on the same plane. And I realized, I was like, this is community. This is like extended family. This is such support. Everybody was there for Ashley, which was like so cool. I mean, we weren't going to really go if Ashley wasn't nominated. Like, you know, Chef Katie was there. Like, there were a lot of people that were represented, but we're like, man, we got to be there. We got to like document this stuff and make sure it happens.
Right. The reason we even thought to go there was because I think in the original or in the semifinals, we had something like 14. North Carolina had 14 nominations.
Yeah. And then, you know, sadly, it got whittled down to 3. And we were like, well, we got to represent them. And, you know, given back to what Ashley said to us on the episode 50, when she was on there, I take it to heart when she said, you know, you guys keep doing what you're doing. You're the storytellers. You're telling our stories of North Carolina. And it's almost like I felt like she gave us a mission. And it's like, well, Ashley, you've got the biggest story to tell. And so we would be remiss if we didn't, you know, put all of our efforts, funds, and babysitters and all that like in front of us so that we could get out there and do this thing.
Yeah.
And it was just great. This community, you know, like she had her architect, she had her musician, she had her brewer, she had like all these people that are around and fellow equal in Vivian, just all sitting there that were just there to support. So it was the community is amazing in North Carolina, and that I got that beautiful feeling when we were there.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like, and that's why I kind of took I'm a glass half full type of guy. Well, maybe for us, that also means that next year we'll be coming back because hopefully either Ashley or one of our other chefs will be nominated.
Yeah. Hey, man, Scott Crawford should be back out there.
This segment is brought to you by the Triangle Wine Company. Visit Triangle Wine Company stores in Morrisville, Cary, and Southern Pines, North Carolina. Or order your wine and beer online at trianglewineco.com. And be sure to use our promo code NCFB to receive 10% off your purchases. Triangle Wine Company.
This next award was the announcement for Best Chef Southeast. This is the award that was with that Katie Button was a nominee. We saw her at Boca the night before with her husband and her mom and her team. We had an amazing meal at Boca, by the way, and she was just sitting next to us and just so pleasant. And so Matt and I, we ran from the backstage to go into the main auditorium where I was able to set my recorder up.
And we also saw her before when we were shuffling into the whole event. Remember, we saw her, and
saw her like just minutes before the show started. So,
and kind of talking to her and feeling her excitement, and she was really excited. Like, I thought it was genuine. And you and I had this conversation about how people feel about awards, and I think that of course everyone wants to win, but some people are genuinely like, you know what, if I win, great. But if I don't, like, that's not necessarily my only validation. And I felt that she was really excited, but like in a really positive way. If she didn't win, she would still be happy. But if she did win, it would be a different type of happy.
But yeah, so here, the audio, we're like literally running down to the steps. I even had to tell some lady to get out of my seat. She was there. We got there. I'm like, excuse me. Yeah, this is my seats. So here it is from the mezzanine level, the announcement of the winner of Best Chef Southeast.
Southeast. Marsha Bailey, The Grill. Katie Button, Nightfall. Rodney Scott, Rodney Scott's Andrew Tyson, and Michael Italian Kitchen.
And the winner is Rodney Scott. Rodney Scott.
How y'all doing? This is an honor. I want to thank my wife, Shanika Coco, affectionately known as, my business partner, Nick Bahakis, Paul Yak, Nicholas, John T. I mean, without these guys, I would have just probably still be outside somewhere cooking. They inspired me to strive harder, to do better, to influence the people and the kids around me. Thank each one, all of y'all. Thank you. Thank you.
The North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
Board Awards right here, man.
Nice. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Truth be told, from North Carolina, we love South Carolina, and we love our Katie Button, and we were like, oh, come on, Katie, you got to win this. But if it had to go to anybody that wasn't Katie, you kept it in the Carolinas.
That's right. We kept it in the Carolinas.
Hey,
All right, you're in South Carolina.
Yes.
But if you happen to cross the border and go north, where do you eat barbecue?
Usually I go to Sam Jones Barbecue.
All right,
That's
man.
my buddy. You know,
All
that's
right.
my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
I go to either one of his places and eat barbecue usually when I'm there. I'm still headed to Buxton Hall as well. With Elliot Moss, another good friend of mine. And I plan to visit every barbecue spot I can, man.
Oh, man. See, we keep it close in the Carolinas.
Definitely.
you just drop a little mustard every now and then. We don't know what that is.
Mustard.
You never use mustard.
I put mustard on a hot dog. I'm not familiar with the mustard sauce. You know, I'm from that area where vinegar and pepper
That's fantastic.
is known. Mustard is kind of alien when it comes to barbecue.
All right, well, I like to hear that.
I wonder for a pitmaster to be nominated in the chef category, because this always blurs the lines. How does that feel to you?
It's scary because barbecue is recognized now as, it's compared to chefs. And chefs put a lot of details into their food, and we as pitmasters, we're out there with hot fire and coals. It's a lot, a little more unique than white tablecloth food.
Right.
It's a little, for me, it's simple food. Backyard barbecue, 4th of July, family reunions, weddings. That's how I recognize barbecue. But to be up against chefs, it's unbelievable.
Crazy. Well, we were watching the Ugly Delicious episode about barbecue with David Chang, and the point was to be made about how much effort and you're chopping wood out to smoke coals out, and the fact that barbecue for so long was thought of in such a secondary amount of food, but and the amount of money you pay for barbecue is relatively little, but the amount of sweat equity you put into it,
a lot of sweat equity, trust me, a lot.
And actually just sweat, just in general, because it's hot as fuck.
Seriously,
Pardon me.
You got to commit at least a half a day with a whole hog, so that's just how serious it is.
Well, hey, we speak about a rising tide lifts all boats all the time, but because barbecue is so important to both Carolinas, you being represented as Chef Southeast, as a pitmaster, as a chef, you're rising that tide for everybody out here.
Yeah,
thank
flying
you.
the flag.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
Thanks, man. And next time you're up in North Carolina, come by the studio so we can sit down for a real conversation.
Definitely, I will.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thank y'all.
Good nice meeting you.
The chef Katie Button did not take the award, and it's all good though. Seriously, like we said, if somebody else is going to win it, hey, let's get somebody that represents and understands what the Southeast is all about. And Rodney Scott is clearly that guy. I mean, he's been spoken about on our show a few times, and especially back when we had a lot of the barbecue guys at Euphoria, both Sam Jones, Matthew Register, the gents from Home Team Barbecue. They all gave props to Rodney Scott. So, it was his time. And I do believe he might be the first pitmaster to ever win a James Beard Award.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. And
he's the first African-American to win the Chef Southeast Award as well.
Exactly. The odds are stacked against him. I mean, African-American and a pitmaster, not necessarily quote-unquote a chef, to win Best Chef Southeast. It's amazing accomplishment.
With that, I mean, I like that they didn't make a delineation between pitmaster and chef, because he is a chef.
He's a chef, right?
All chef means in French is boss. So that's what it is. So he's a boss. He's in charge of what he does. He's in charge of his kitchen, and he does it the way anybody else would. It's just he has a different application. But
we don't know him that well, but just from talking to him for a few minutes, he was, again, I keep using these words, genuinely touched. I mean, the award, just really did something, really hit home for him in a way that was profound.
Yeah. It was a cool, just thinking about it, man, it was a cool show when you think of, in hindsight, from top to bottom, even in the Pacific Northwest. Speaking about African-American chefs, Eduardo Jordan won for Best Chef Northwest out there in Seattle for Solare. And then he opened a new restaurant, June Baby, in Seattle, and he won for that as well. Matt, you made reference to Rodney about the Ugly Delicious episode with David Chang. Well, if you continue to watch another episode of his, David hangs out with Eduardo Jordan, and they talk and go deep into both restaurants. And he had basically just opened June Baby, and that's an homage to his dad. But it was amazing. He's just, the guy is super talented, has an amazing resume, and we're in an age where the proof is in the pudding. It doesn't matter what you look like, who you are. It's now everybody's getting graded on merit, skill, and who they are as people. And so I think that's great. It's our food boundaries are seeing no color lines, which is amazing, and sexual lines and all that. It's
well, I'd like to think that the James Beard Awards in the culinary community has always been voting and thought of that way, but the rest of the world is just catching up with it. Now they're getting notoriety for it.
Yeah.
So Max, Ashley Christensen was nominated for Outstanding Chef of the Year nationally. She didn't end up taking the prize. What are your thoughts?
Well, what I like is you didn't say she didn't win, because winning is kind of irrelevant in this scenario. It's anyone that is part of that dance is a true player in this country and nationally, or even internationally, as far as being recognized as a leader. It doesn't change anything about what Ashley does. And if 5 people were given finalist awards for being the most outstanding person that cooks food and leads restaurants and is a driving force, well, then that's what it is. And if Ashley is in the top 5 for 2018, then that's an amazing accomplishment. without being cliche, everybody there wins, and they all really like. Ashley's just going to put her head down and keep doing what she does, and open new restaurants and build on her empire. And we're happy for it. We're a better state and city for it that she's doing those things.
Exactly. Her being nominated for that shines a huge spotlight on our state, as Ashley always does. And then the way that she handled it after, her, I don't know if I'm sure you saw her Instagram post congratulating Gabrielle from Prune, and just the way that she always handles things. It's just so genuinely
graceful.
Yes, graceful. But it's not even graceful because like, oh, I'm trying to be graceful or I'm trying to say the right thing. It's really how she feels, and it's really how she acts. And I guess it's funny because we were having that conversation the night before. We had this Airbnb and we had an amazing rooftop that we were kind of looking out over the Willis Tower, as it's called now. You guys probably know it as the Sears Tower. And we were having this conversation about how nervous people might be right now as it was just leading up to the Beard Awards. And I said, I think that some people might not be that nervous, and I think that the awards are not really the validation for them. That it's certainly nice, and of course there's always a part of you that wants to win, but that exactly as you said earlier, Max, it doesn't really change who you are or what you're going to do. It's just merely a recognition, and for some people, and I think like Ashley, I don't think they really need that recognition. Like, I think she's probably super happy to be there. She's probably super happy for her team to be there. And if anything, I would say, and of course this is my ideal side coming out, she was probably more upset for her team not being able to feel the victory than for her own self. And what's funny is the little inside scoop for us to be there, her team, they did feel it. They were genuinely upset that she didn't win. And a little
they love her so much.
But I will say that as the champions they recovered and hung at the after party. Anyway,
everybody was there to hang out and watch you dance on the dance floor, homie.
Yeah, they were hanging out and watching me dance on the dance floor. It does. It still shines a huge spotlight on North Carolina. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. What an amazing time.
Who's up next?
José Andrés.
Oh,
so
big man. Yeah, well, I'll just say it right off the bat. What I really liked about that is I felt that he genuinely, I don't know, this sounds super shallow, but he liked us because we had the initial connection being that, Katie Button had told her story. And then so we told him, that, you were obviously a mentor to Katie, and, we just had her on the show. And I feel like that immediately made him feel some sort of kinship with us, which was really cool.
Way to like soften into a conversation.
Yeah. And just to preface this, like, this is him just literally minutes after coming off the stage at the James Beard Awards, after just giving his speech for the Humanitarian of the Year at the James Beard Awards, which was a big deal.
Yeah, here it is. And
nice to meet you.
How are you?
Yeah, congratulations. I'm fantastic.
So we are with the North Carolina Food and Beverage Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We've been covering a lot of stories with Chef Katie Button this whole time around, and we know that you not only are a mentor to her, but you also helped her in her time of need, opening up Curate.
She helped me more than I will ever help her. She worked with us in 2 cities. I'm very proud that she met a fellow Spaniard, Felix, in one of my restaurants. So I feel like, what's the best thing you can do for a fellow friend, college employee, that they go on their own and they try to start their own restaurant in a faraway city. So, for me, the pre-opening is the most important moment in a restaurant.
Right.
And I would love to tell you it was my idea, but my guys, they were all like, okay, let's give them a hand. And it's like, okay, let's do it. And it was many people that volunteer, and we went there for almost a week, and it was almost like, family taking care of family. We feel honored that she let us go into her house and be there with her and Felix, and watching them succeed in the way they succeed is very enlightening. It's very fulfilling.
Were you also just kind of personally interested in having some good barbecue while you were in Asheville?
Exactly. I did.
Exactly.
I'm a big barbecue eater. I love barbecue. Oh my God, I forgot the play.
Buxton's out there.
Buxton.
With Elliot.
With
Around
Elliot
the
Moss.
corner. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All of them.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
So beyond barbecue, I have a question. You're a chef and renowned for being a chef, but recently with humanitarian, I mean, where does that change come, and where do you feel that passion to say, okay, well, I need to do it different? Like, how does that start? How does that begin?
Listen, it's very humbling because it's okay, they give it to the person, but this is about the people. I didn't begin yesterday. I've been doing this for many years, but I got more out of it than I feel I ever gave. Has always inspired me to see others. What happened that for the last 10, 12 years, this keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I don't know what's going on, but it seems we are always in the right place in the right moment. And
it's like generosity feeds itself.
Yeah, what happened is became very public. We needed help, so we used Twitter as an agent of change, or Instagram, or any medium we had to tell people we're doing it. You can claim like we were doing it to say, look at how cool we are, but we were doing it because it was the only way I could communicate with my family, because I couldn't talk to them. For me, putting what we were doing in Twitter was a way for my wife and my children to feel I was safe. But at the same time, it was a call to action saying, guys, we are in problems here.
Yeah.
If you can help any way you can, come help. Well with hours of volunteerism, or well with money, or well with fruit, or well with product, or well with gas. And so it became very public. Obviously, Houston, California, the San Thomas fires, but then Puerto Rico was this almost super unexpected chaos that I'm very happy that at the end, chefs, we were able to come together and do it.
Are you saying that you've always been doing this stuff, community outreach, and then just because of the wide scale, it's now gotten a lot of notoriety?
Listen, we've been already a few hurricanes after Haiti, earthquakes. I've been in Sandy. Me and my team, we've been in many places, my team and I. And I guess this is an MBA of life. If you want to help others, people don't want our pity, people want our respect. And if we need to give respect, we need to learn how. And, this is not just tourism of emergency, which to a degree it is, but this with a very clear focus is you want to be somebody that can help somehow. For me, I've been, very lucky to have years of experience on that front. Well in DC, well in LA, well in different islands. And who was going to say that all the experience we gained over the years, kind of we put it to work in Puerto Rico in a way I never expected. I want to be in the top 50. I want to be with more than 1 or 2 3-star Michelin restaurant. I want to be, one thing doesn't work against the other. The issue is that I think I'm 48, even I'm a millennial with a belly. I'm a millennial with a belly. I realize that what fulfills me in life is more than one thing, and I've been, very lucky to be able to put always together a team that allow me to do other things in life, because without it wouldn't be possible. But that was a very early decision. I could make much more money early on in my young years, and I always decided to have 1 or 2 extra sous chefs or one or two extra assistants or one or two extra. And for me, I'm learning that freedom is the biggest luxury we can afford. And since I was very young, I always try to create freedom around myself, precisely to give me room to learn, to help others, to open other restaurants. And I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to keep it up, because I'm not the young boy I used to be, and I get tired.
You're a millennial. Come on.
And I get tired too. But it has worked well for me. I love to empower others the way they empower me, and that seems to be working. So I think my life never had big moments besides my daughters being born, the three of them. I think my life has been used, like my wife, steady. I was in the Spanish Navy, and sailing was one of the most beautiful things I've ever done. And it's used good winds that keep moving the ship forward.
There you go. So the next restaurant, look for Armada by José Andrés.
Maybe, but yeah. But before the American Navy kicked the butt of the Spanish Armada.
Well, that's okay. Now you're an American. You're an American.
And now we need to bring peace.
Yeah.
Thank you. 2018 Humanitarian of the Year, José Andrés, the James Beard Foundation. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great to
Take good care of Katie, okay?
We will.
She's awesome. I'm Felix.
So it's kind of interesting. We were there, one of the biggest awards that was about to happen was Outstanding Chef of the Year. And the announcement was happening in the middle. Outstanding Chef of the Year, of course, Ashley Christensen is represented. And we're interviewing José Andrés, such an important person in our scope of just everything that we do. And so we're like interviewing him, and I'm looking over his shoulder trying not to pay attention, but I'm like, oh God, they're about to announce the big one. And of course, Gabrielle Hamilton of Prune in New York won the award, and she's a fantastic chef. And, even Ashley gave her so much kudos and credit for everything she's done. But, you don't stop talking to José Andrés to watch the TV to see who's going to win the next award. But it was at a very interesting and important time while we were interviewing him.
When you meet that guy, it makes complete sense why chefs have become rock stars and celebrities. And I don't mean that to say in a negative way. I mean in the most positive way. Like, you know how you meet, and I'm not saying every actor or athlete, but you meet a lot of actors and a lot of athletes, and often or sometimes they disappoint you. Like, they're not the people you think they are.
Yeah, TV's John May.
With the exception of TV's John May.
Oh, yeah, exception.
Yeah. Who, by the way, I saw today, and he said, "Oh, tell Felicia I say hi. Tell Sarah I say hi. Don't tell Max anything." And
I just
I'm not telling
his comment because he just bought some wine from you. He posted out some Rhyme cellars over there at Crawford and Son. So,
total sidebar. He bought some wine for me, and he's like bragging about it. Oh, dude, it's 86. We just 86, and I sold out. I said, dude, you bought 2 bottles. That means 1 4 Top liked it. That's what happens when you buy 2 bottles. Anyway,
staying in. No, I don't know,
but no, you know how you meet like an athlete or an actor, and they don't live up to like your hopes and dreams.
Well, and they say like rote answers at all time.
And they give you rote answers. But José Andrés is like so genuine and literally so passionate. I mean, it's not just a publicity stunt that he won Humanitarian of the Year award.
Yeah, and everybody like. Forgive the audio quality, and of course, Jose, he's a Spaniard. He's got a nice little accent on there. So in case there's certain things that you just didn't clearly understand, like he was saying, he's like, look, we're out there helping in Puerto Rico, and I'm using social media essentially to just communicate with my friends and my family because that's the only way. They didn't really have any infrastructure there. But because we're posting, hey, it's pretty bad out here, it got national attention. And he wasn't trying to show off what he was doing. He was just communicating, and it's interesting too. And I think Puerto Rico is an American colony. It's important that we treat it as such and not just the redheaded stepchild. And I think that's what he was trying to bring light to. Like, hey man, there's disasters happening all over the country. It's apparent. But it's ours, and we need some help.
Yeah, but the cool thing about him is he even goes international. I mean, like, and actually it's funny because Shannon Healy had brought it up, but he had gone to Haiti and done work there, you know, and he's done work in other countries too. So
as this episode draws to a close, in summation, I mean, we saw a city that we really had never explored food-wise. Amazing food that we had from beginning to end. It was a whirlwind 48 hours just of nonstop experience. Kudos to our buddies that helped us out, like Evan Sheridan, who's out there at the St. Jane. You'll hear from him soon. We have a little episode we'll probably drop out. He used to be the pastry chef at the Umstead Hotel. Kudos to him. Thank you for all your help. We were able to have crazy bar experiences like Jian Chen giving us this unbelievable cocktail 3-course dinner or 3-course meal with drinks.
Omakase cocktails.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. In a penthouse of a high rise, and just for the 4 of us, just Felicia, you, me, and Forrest. And he was doing that all through the day with various foursomes, and it was just super cool. Matt, what's your take?
Well, first of all, I want to give my kudos to you because we did not waste 1 minute. Like, even our downtime was planned out and it was perfect. You know, we had a short window to be there, maybe 48 hours plus, I'm not exactly sure, but every minute was spent really well. It was really perfectly executed. And I think the first day we experienced either a cocktail or a bite of food at 7 different establishments in Chicago.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah.
And then, you know, got into all the cool kid parties the next day, and found some time for some downtime and a little bit of exercise.
Airbnb ever, right?
And a really cool Airbnb, just like super great. And, but what I take away, from the James Beard Awards is, in this culinary world, 2 things that people and chefs, and it's been said before, when they come together, great things happen, because all these chefs that are doing things in different parts and pockets of the country get to come together for a couple of days and celebrate each other, which is just an amazing thing. And the vibe and the feeling it's just such a euphoric experience, and it's genuine, and there's no really shitty people or assholes there, and everyone's really there to celebrate one another. So, you know, automatically you're going into a good time. And then the reverence that people have, and like Vivian said, the respect for one another and what everybody else does is, it really becomes evident when you're around these people and how they see each other and everything. And if you're an athlete, or if you're an actor, or, you know, that's trained all your life to get to a certain point, and then you're there, you're at the James Beard Awards, you're at the epitome, the very top of your field, for a few days, of course you're going to let loose and party. And I think that's what everybody did in a great way. So all around a fantastic time. They ate and drank extremely merrily.
Guests of the NCF&B podcast receive a swag bag, including gifts from these exceptional North Carolina producers: Social House Vodka, Hungry Harvest, Alley 26 Tonic Syrup, Michael's English Muffins, Larry's Beans and 42 in Lawrence, Ramona Wine Coolers, and Happy Hour Vitamins. Thanks for listening to the NCF&B podcast. I am the voice, Brian Hoyle. And if you've stuck with us this long, review us on iTunes, and remember, 5 stars are encouraged.